Hey y'all, RoamTownGirl here. Today I'm going to tell you all about my time in Texas. But first, if you're new to my channel and this is the first time you're stopping by, welcome, and I hope you have a great time and that you want to come back over and over and over again. And to my longtime watchers, thank you so much. You know I love and appreciate each and every one of you for always being there and supporting this channel and hopefully helping it grow. I don't know, sometimes I get discouraged, guys. I'm going on year 4 and we're not doing so well. So I researched, and they said the time to go to Texas is in spring, late March and all of April. I was there all of March, all of April, and I do not think that was the time to be there. It is not the best time to be in Texas. In fact, I'm not sure there is a best time to be in Texas. Now, I don't want to offend any of my Texans out there, but I really did not enjoy your state. I'm sorry. It was hot and humid and muggy and buggy. I had an ant invasion, which I've never had before or after, only when I was there. I learned all about how to look for shelter because there were constant tornado watches. I think I was in one morning. The first time it happened, we were at Lake Conroe. So I called the ranger there and I said, there's a tornado watch. What does that mean? And he explained to me the distinction between a tornado watch and a tornado warning. Watch means watch. Warning means they've actually seen a funnel. And then I said, so what am I supposed to do? And he said, you look for, a sturdy structure. In their case, they have these concrete bathrooms. Go to the bathroom. So I walked over to see how far it was. And then I just happened to start chatting with my neighbor. Big surprise there, right? And apparently he had actually been in a previous tornado warning, and where he was actually got impacted. And he told me, think like this. Take whatever you would need to survive about 2 weeks if you couldn't go back to your RV. Because I think that's what happened to them, is they had to evacuate their RV, and then the area got so impacted that they weren't able to go back for about 2 weeks. So I thought like that, credit card, some water, because you can always go to like a Walmart or something and get more supplies, but like, what's the basics you just need for 2 weeks if you couldn't get back to your RV? I thought that was a great tip, so I'm sharing it with you. So the reason I picked Texas is because, I'm on a mission. I want to see all of the United States, and it was the next one closest by, and it had 7,000 trails. So since I'm a 1,000 Trails member, I thought, perfect. So I plotted a course, and let me talk to you a little bit about how I planned my stops. So the first thing is, I do not like to drive more than about 2 hours a day. Now, if I have to drive 3, I will, and if I have to drive 4, oh my God, I have to mentally psych myself up for it, but I can do it. But ideally, I love to go about 2 hours a day. You'll see I found a combination of stops that were about 2 hours-ish from each other that had a RV place for me to stay. What I found works actually the best is once I find the city, I just Google and I say free camping near whatever city. And most of the times I'll get options. Sometimes I won't, but then if I don't get any options, I'll go to another city that's sort of along my route and do it again. And then once I find possibilities, then I go and look those up in Campendium. I look them up in free campsites. I look them up even just in Google reviews. And I let that help me decide where to go. Another thing I research is what's the situation with rest areas for any given state. Because a lot of them let you stay in a rest stop for 24 hours. And I have to tell you, Texas had plenty of rest stops. They weren't too bad. A little noisy for me, obviously, because they're right on the highway. But here's an example. Nice, plenty of room. You could park and maybe even get one of these pavilions. Now, I drove for 4 days, and in 4 days, I saw 2 really bad accidents. So I'm just gonna take a moment here to remind you, please be safe out there. When you're pulling trailers, you're not supposed to go faster than 55 miles an hour. I know it's hard because you wanna get where you're going, but look what can happen. Now, I don't know that that's what this person did, but I'm just taking this opportunity to give you a public service reminder on that. So please be safe out there. Oh, another thing I discovered the unfortunate way in Texas is they have a lot of toll roads. And I kind of wound up on them, and they tell you that they're gonna send you a bill in the mail. I still haven't got my bill, and I am terrified that I'm gonna get one and it's gonna have some huge amount with fines and fees. I've called, and it's impossible to identify which company is related to which toll road you were on. So here's my RoamTownGirl tip. Just set your GPS or whatever it is you use to avoid toll roads when you're in Texas. It'll help a lot, I promise you. Okay, so I know I'm a total weirdo, but when I got to Texas, one of the first things I wanted to check out was their Buc-ees. Have you heard of Buc-ees? It's an amazing gas station, if you can even call it that. So when I do long trips, I gotta walk the dogs. Check out this lady, she's gotta walk her horse. Hi guys. What's your horse's name?
Bo.
Bo. Bo's beautiful. Hi Bo, you're being shy? You're very beautiful, Bo. This is my first trip to Buc-ees. I'm very excited. I'm gonna have a brisket sandwich and some fudge, for sure. Safe travels, guys. Look at this place. You know how with gas prices these days, we're learning how gas stations don't actually make money off of the price of gas. They make money out of what they sell you inside their store. Well, no need to worry. I'm sure Buc-ees is doing very well. Oh, love lavender. Oh my God, look at this place.
Can you pick up our order over here?
Jams and jellies. Oh my God, a wall of candy. And don't forget the bathrooms. If you have to go, it's worth stopping at a Buc-ees just to use their bathroom. And if you're looking for a job, it doesn't look like it's a bad place to work either. So I'm going to show you the 4 places that I found and chose along the way. I left Las Cruces, New Mexico, and my first 1,000 trails was Medina Lake, which is sort of around, where's the Alamo? Where's the River Rock? San Antonio. So that was the first leg of my trip. I took 4 days, and here's the different places I stopped. The first place I spent the night is called Oasis RV. It was in the city of Van Horn, which I found out when I got there, that's where Blue Origin sent up their rocket. So they had just had a whole bunch of hubbub there. So they were all very excited about that. I have to tell you that I was not at all pleased with the RV park. I was glad I was staying there one night. They actually had some animal issues going on that I said I was gonna call and report them, and I still haven't. But they had a bunny hutch and a chicken hutch, which is cool, except for the bunnies. The whole hutch, the whole ground was covered with bunny poo, and the chickens had just pecked each other ridiculously down to nothing. So they're not taking care of their animals, and it was hard to look at. But if for some reason you find yourself there, the restaurant across the way, Chewy's, was very good, very delicious. And that's about all I have to say about the city of Van Horn. So my second night I spent at Saddleback RV. Saddleback RV was really nice. It was very large. It was actually very pretty. Take a look at some of these sunsets. They were also right next to a gas station with a convenience store, so that was nice. And they had a restaurant right there on the premises, a restaurant, bar, saloon thing. It wasn't open when I was there. But I took a look at the menu, looked kind of yummy. My third night I stayed in the town of Sheffield, and I found 2 places to stay. Now I opted for one over the other, well let me tell you about them both. This is Fort Lancaster Scenic Overlook. It's 100% free, it's very quiet, and it seems very safe. It's highly recommended when I Googled it. This is located in Sheffield, Texas. For me, this was a perfect stopping point, traveling east from the city of Van Horn and headed towards San Antonio. Now, I didn't stay here. I was afraid I might be the only one, which is probably great for a lot of folks, but for me, it makes me a little scared. So I stayed someplace less attractive, but at least I had people around me, and it cost $10. So I opted for that. But if you aren't a scaredy cat like me, this is a fabulous place to stop. And on my 4th and final night before I got to my first 1,000 trails, best find of all was the Shriner Community Park. It was awesome! Check this place out. Look at this wonderful city park in Texas. I'm in Junction, Texas. This is the view from my free spot. Listen to that wonderful sound of the water. I got a tent camper right behind me. There's also camping across the way. Apparently you go over the bridge. See the bridge? So you go over the bridge. And then see, there's RVs over there. But I stayed on this side. Okay, Hoyt told me it's gonna be quiet at night. Here's hoping. The go-to guy here, his name is Hoyt, and he told me there was a big flood back in 2018, and this whole section had to be redone. It's almost done. But in the meantime, this whole area is available for boondocking for free. And the dam is right there. So you have these wonderful views and wonderful sounds. I did have to move the RV back because apparently this tree is somewhat dying, and has branches that fall, so we repositioned me so that hopefully no branches are gonna fall on Romeo Fancy Pants here. Oh, and as I left town, they had an awesome barbecue joint, so I had to add Texas barbecue. Their cream corn was to die for. Okay, Thousand Trails time. So I want to take a moment here and just remind you all why I think Thousand Trails is really great, especially for the beginner RVer. So they have something called a zone pass, which means you have access to all the Thousand Trails Park in a given area. It's $500 for the whole year, that's it. When you go to a Thousand Trails Park, it shouldn't cost you any additional money, although that's a little changing. Sometimes they have a $3 or $5 upgrade for 50 amp. But we'll leave that over there. But being that in the beginning, I didn't know anything about RVing. I didn't know other RVers. I knew that it would be great to have a situation where I could go to a campground, I could be behind a gate, I could have rangers to help me, I could have other RVers around, and it just felt like a very supportive and safe environment to get my full-time RVing training wheels. So I highly recommend it. There are 7 Thousand Trails parks, and as you can see, they are spaced nicely all around Texas, so really gives you an opportunity to see the state. Medina Lake. This one is near San Antonio, which is about an hour away from the Alamo and the Riverwalk. Things I noticed about this park: I stayed in the F section, F17 to be exact. I love this area. It did have sewer, and it was heavily trafficked by deer. Come here. Come here. Hi. Hi. Come. Here. Come. 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 What's your name? Here. I know you think I have something for you, but I really don't. Hello. Do you want to come over here? No. Bye. So when I think about Medina, I think about deer. They're everywhere. Breakfast buffet. There's another area, upcharge for this area, and you're supposed to have this gorgeous view of Medina Lake. It's all dried up. It's just big grassland now. So that was disappointing. And the other section I stayed at for one night was over by the laundry. And I did this a couple times where I stayed in a park, I found a great spot, and then on my very last night, I asked permission to move to a site closer to the laundry room so I could do laundry before I headed out to the next park. Colorado River. I initially tried to get a spot down on the river. It sounds great, right? I didn't like it down there. Very crowded. You're lined up side by side by side, which I don't like. And I ultimately wound up in the A section. There's no sewer there, but I gotta tell you, it was peaceful. I made 2 new friends, and I like that area best. They also have a brand new upgraded area. So if you're a big rig and you like satellite and open skies, that would be this area for you. Lake Conroe. This is where I got my first lesson in tornado watches and warnings. They're a nice park, a big park, a crowded park. I was in the D section, and that allowed me to be next to the catfish pond, so I had a nice view of the water. It was walking distance to the laundry room and like all their other things that they have, their clubhouse, all their like pickleball or tennis courts, all that stuff was over there. And their major claim to fame is they had food carts. So I really enjoyed myself and I tried crawfish, crawdads, crawfish, I don't know. People ask me, did I bite the head off? Did I suck the head? Whatever. No, I did not. I twisted them off. I was not a huge fan of the crawdads themselves, but I gotta tell you, that seasoning and the corn and the potatoes, oh my God, that was to die for. Lake Whitney. It's very popular, and lots of people like the B loop. I could not find a spot in there, so I opted to pay a little bit of an upcharge and go to the A loop because it was me and like 3 other people, and so it was worth the $3 extra a night. Roads were a little rough in there. They do have a laundry room and like a lodge, but all of that was closed down when I was there. Not sure when that's opening again. The dogs and I walked down to see what Lake Whitney actually looks like. Lake Whitney's very beautiful. You like the lake, Wesley? Where's Shelby? You enjoying yourself down here, sweetheart? Where's your ball, Shelbs? Shelby, where's your ball? Oh, right there. Bay Landing. Not really one of my favorite parks. It's one that has like that open floor plan where there's just a handful of trees. So I didn't like it. But they do have a really great hamburger joint close by that is highly recommended. So just ask the ranger about it. I don't recall the name of it at this time. Maybe I'll try to find it and put it up on the screen. But apparently it's worth the drive over there. I also had an incident in the laundry room at Bay Landing. You know, I've learned to keep my mouth shut, but that doesn't mean that I don't keep having things happen. So in this case, I was in a laundry room. I was using a washer that was at the very end next to the sink. I had, you know, disinfected the whole thing, wiped it all down, even the top, had my things up on top. And the next thing I know, this lady comes bursting in with a cat. She pushes all the things over on top of my washing machine, puts all her cat-related things, and throws her cat in the sink and starts washing her cat, which I found absolutely disgusting. I mean, this is a room for cleaning your clothes. So the whole thing just grossed me out, especially because we all had hoses and picnic tables. If she needed to wash her cat that bad, I think she should have done it at her site. Anyway, I didn't say anything. I did call the ranger. I did ask what their policy was about washing animals in the laundry room. She did say that people had done it before. I said, okay, well, I think it's gross. Do with that information what you will. And that's how I handled it. Much better than last time, right? Lake Tawakoni. I have learned how to say it correctly. I liked Lake Tawakoni. I actually stayed in 2 areas. It was probably one of the prettiest parks I stayed at. The first section was the H section. I was closest to the entrance. But look at these wonderful views out my windows. And then, towards the end of my stay, I moved over to the A section. And that was walking distance to the laundry room. Now, this area is also really pretty, but no sewer, so it's not as popular. Most people like to be in the section that backs up along the lake. I drove by there first, and again, it's sewer, it's backing up to the lake, but you are just side by side by side by side by side, and I just can't do that. I don't know, maybe you can. Texoma. I stayed in B24, which allowed me to be among the trees, walking distance to the laundry room and clubhouse, walking distance to the lake, but it's also where I got my ant invasion. So I don't really have that fond of memories of Lake Texoma. But let me show you how pretty the lake is. Okay, full disclosure, there was a part of Texas that I would recommend, and that was East Texas. Oh my God, it is so pretty there, and the wildflowers are just gorgeous. In fact, they actually have a wildflower festival. It happens the last full weekend in April in the town of Avenger, which is where my friend Tracy and his brother Ed are. It was so perfect. My friend Tracy, he actually had an area by his house where I was able to park the RV with power by a lake. We had the whole place to ourselves for most of the time I was there. Wesley was happy there. Shelby was happy there. Romeo was happy there. I think I took one of the greatest pictures I've ever taken in my life there. I think this one could be a poster. What do you think? And they also had a lot of fun things to do in the area. We spent a lot of time in the neighboring town of Jefferson. So the first time we went over there, we were hoping to go to the historic train ride, which got great reviews on Google. Unfortunately, they weren't yet open when we were there. So instead, we took some pictures, you know, hung out with Bigfoot. So in lieu of the train ride, we did a boat tour instead. It was really wonderful. If you get a chance to go there, I'd check it out. I felt like I was on the bayou. They also have a Gone with the Wind museum there. We checked that out. That was pretty cool. And I gotta tell you, if you have a hankering for some fried catfish, I had the best fried catfish of my life in the town of Longview at a place called Crawdaddy's with a K. Oh, I'm still dreaming about that catfish. So I hope you had a good time with this tour of Texas. And if you haven't yet been there, giving you some ideas of some places and things you can go check out and see for yourself. Okay, I think it's gonna start raining on my head any minute now. I'm gonna go inside. See you next time.